Struggling to cut through the digital noise with your marketing message? You're not alone. Welcome to This Week with Sabir Lightning Round. This will be a 10-minute power packed 10 minutes. Today, we are tackling this challenge head on with Ben Guttman, a beacon in the realm of digital marketing and communication. Ben is the co founder and former managing partner of Digital Natives Group, has spearheaded campaigns for giants like the NFL and Comcast, NBC Universal, among many others. He's not just a practitioner. As an educator at Baruch College and a consultant for venture backed startups, Ben molds the future of marketing. His latest venture into the literary world is simply put. By the way, thank you, Ben, for the book. It was autographed and it was lovely and really power packed. So, why clear messages win and how to design them, and promises to be a game changer for anyone looking to make their message heard. Ben, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you share your wisdom with us today.
Thanks for having me, Sabir. It's great to be here.
So let's jump right into it. Can you share the journey that led you from co-founding Digital Natives Group to teaching digital marketing at Baruch College?
So I went to Baruch College actually as a student, and I was the big kind of student government dork when I was there. So I
I'm
didn't do
Queens College, by the way.
yeah.
So
CUNY's the best, right? And so I didn't spend a lot of time doing like the internships and all the stuff I was kind of supposed to do. But thankfully, I had a professor who ran his own marketing agency up in Westchester, actually. And we, at the end of the semester, he basically came up to me and a friend, and he said, "Well, I know, you kind of want to start your own thing. We need some help with digital. Maybe we can figure something out." And so one thing leads to another. We set up shop in their basement. We slap our logo on the wall. We, drive in my 94 Honda Accord, up out of the city doing the reverse commute every day. And we ran that agency for 10 years. We, started cutting our teeth with the local ice cream shop, local camera shop. And then bit by bit, you start to do things with slightly bigger clients. You start to hire people. We got an office in Queens, in Long Island City. You hire more people, you got a bigger office. And then eventually you look around one day and you say, well, working with the NFL and I Love New York and all these really great brands. And then about 2 years ago, we decided that it was time to sell it. And so it was a really wonderful journey, ran that for about a decade. And, since we did that, it's been really fun to do some of those things you're talking about, different consulting projects and the writing the book. But I always was excited to get back in the classroom as much as I could and to be able to kind of give back in the way that that professor and others gave back to me. And I'll tell you, it's wonderful intrinsically, but it's also one of those things that I highly recommend in a very selfish way, where I get to learn a lot from, kind of keeping that connection with the 21, 22-year-old, kind of mini focus group that I have every single week.
when you work with the likes of like NFL and NBC Universal, right? You always learn things. What were your learnings that led you to, that kind of shaped your marketing approach that you took into this book?
Well, one thing that I would see with every client, and whether it's something that was, kind of a big giant Titanic brand like that, or going back to the local ice cream shop, people have the same problem, which they hire a marketing agency for, which is they have something they want people to care about, and they have a really hard time getting people to care about it, and getting people to know about it, to buy it, to vote for them, to donate, whatever it's going to be. And that's the core problem of why you hire a marketing agency. And so that's what I looked to solve in this book after I was able to kind of step out of the day-to-day of it and look at it from a little bit of a different perspective of, well, what's the difference between a message that works and a message that doesn't? And it turns out that the answer is simple. I mean, literally, like the simpler messages are more effective than the ones that are more complicated. And that doesn't sound like a particularly revelatory insight. And if that's enough, then don't go buy the book. But if you're interested in kind of learning the why of that, and then the how, which that's really the hard part, that's where Simply Put comes in. And that was really, that's the other 207 pages of the book. The first page is telling you that it's simple. Everything else is telling you about how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, simplicity it requires genius. It does. The hardest thing is it's easy to just put words against things, right? but to make it simple so that everybody understands it and they get it, right? They
Mhm.
understand your value, they understand the benefits of the product and stuff. And especially, you have this diagram on page 87 of the drill that you show, right?
Yeah.
Ad number one, it's talking about all the, and by the way, I deal with clients all day long, right?
Mhm.
Everybody likes to tout how great the technical aspects of the product is. 80% this much, and 43% this. It's 2.3 inches a drill, whatever. If I am Joe Schmo, Joe the plumber, do I really care about that? If I'm Joe the consumer, do I care about that, right? And that example is a brilliant example, by the way, in the book, right? That taking that and instead not making it about you, even a drill, not making it about you, but making it how it benefits them, right? The
Mhm.
consumer. It's a very different thinking, right? If you were to change all of that, that change by itself can have explosive growth in that company.
Oh, absolutely. And so that whole metaphor of the drill actually comes from something which I can't take credit for. It's from Theodore Levitt, who was a Harvard professor in the 60s. And he had a saying which I tell now my students, and I've used it in the professional sense. And I say, if you remember this, you're going to be so far ahead of everybody else, in the entire industry or in business in general, because it's kind of the foundational truth, but it's often forgotten. And the quote is, people don't want a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole, right? People don't want a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole. They don't want the thing, they want what the thing does for them, right? They don't want the feature, they want the benefit. And if you've ever worked in sales, this is kind of like sales 101 type stuff. However, it's really hard in a marketing context to kind of keep your eye on the prize of the benefits, because the features, the how much does the drill weigh, and the comfort silicone grip and the extra battery pack and all this stuff, those are very tangible, and those are things that you can see, smell, taste, touch, and those remain as visible on day one as day bajillion. But the benefits, as you get bigger and as you get more mature as a company, and you have more people kind of like having their input on your ad, and too many chefs in the kitchen, that gets further and further away. And so it's very easy to kind of forget why it is that people are actually buying your product or your service, and focus on kind of the stuff that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So from the book, what would you say the two or three key principles or strategies that, because I have my audience is entrepreneurs, and there are business owners, and especially e-commerce business owners, they watch the show to get
Mhm.
value from it. So from your perspective, what are the three things that they can take away from this book that they can implement right away? Obviously, I would recommend to everyone to go pick up this book. I think this is going to be one of those things. 100 years from now, it will be on a desk. It's like one of
I
those on
appreciate
your
that.
desk.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like one of those copywriting things, that are like 80 years old and it's still there and it's still useful. I would say that that's the value of this book. But what are the three things that they could take away from this and implement it like ASAP?
Oh, that's very flattering. I appreciate that. So you mentioned, we talked about benefits for a little bit. That is the number one kind of first principle we talk about when talking about simplicity. I'll real quick give you the other four. I'll give it to just kind of bullet
You're
point.
giving a bonus one.
I'll give you a bonus one. So the second one is focus. Are you trying to say one thing or multiple things at once? The third is salient. Does your message stand out from the noise? Does it have contrast? Does it rise to your attention? Does it zig when others zag, right? The fourth one is empathetic. Are you speaking in the language that your audience understands? Are you meeting them where they are, both in terms of the actual words, but in terms of their motivations, their emotions? And then finally, minimal. Have you cut out everything that isn't important and kept only what is? And there's a whole host of science behind all these different ones here, and I have all sorts of different tools about how to get there. And that's basically kind of the second half of the book. The first half, we're talking about the why. Second half, we're talking about the how, and we have a chapter for each one of those there. And there's a lot to dive into.
Definitely. So as we wrap up then today's conversation, could you share any final insights, yeah, or advice for our audience, especially for those eager to enhance their like communication, copywriting skills, and especially like e-commerce?
Mhm.
copywriting and product copy. There's a lot of product copywriting,
Yeah.
that could deepen their understanding of digital marketing.
I'll leave you with the kind of core takeaway here, which is that just as if you were sending a letter and you had to pay for the postage, it is your responsibility as the sender of advertising, of messaging, of a proposal, whatever. It's your responsibility to pay the metaphorical and literal cost of communication. People woke up today with lots of things they cared about, but your ad for a new brand of shampoo was not one of them. Nobody had on their to-do list, click on Instagram ads or open a spam email. You have to be humble and focused on the benefits to the receiver if you ever want to break through.
Ben, a huge thank you for making this special appearance. I know that you have to run off to another one right behind us, right? And sharing your insights. And folks, definitely grab this book. It's on Amazon, and I think everywhere where books are sold. But
Mhm.
Amazon, if you go there, just type in simply put Ben Guttman, and you can visit Ben also on his website benguttman.com. And so that's all. That's all for today on This Week with Sabir. Stay inspired and see you next time.